All right, we've been following a court case, Pastor Timothy Omotoso, and grueling details coming out from his alleged victims. Let's speak to SABC News reporter Lerato Fekisi. We've been hearing from one specific woman, really graphic details. Lerato, just tell us how that court case ended this week today.
Afternoon to you, Francis. Well, this afternoon we saw Malusha Gianni also giving a very sensitive and graphic information about what happened to her when she was in Durban. Her testimony, unlike Cheryl Zondi's and Vyoga's, was quite short because she said that the alleged sexual assault by Omotoso only happened once, and she spoke about it that when she was 13 or 14 she went to the tourist Durban house in Westridge in Mhlanga, where she alleges that Omotoso sexually violated her, and the defense asked her to really be truthful in her statement, and I'll tell you why he was leading her in this way. And she spoke about how, unlike other cases where there was alleged sexual interactions, there was oral sex, her testimony was quite different in that she just said, from what she remembers at that time, that Omotoso touched her private parts and touched her breasts, and that was it, and just mentioned the word touched. And then I think this is where Peter Durban, the defense, really came for her in terms of really poking holes at her testimony. And he said that originally when she testified to the Hawks, when this whole matter started a few years ago, she said to the Hawks, just in a vague statement, that she alleges in her statement that Omotoso touched her. And then after that, she was interviewed by advocates Derfontein, and also Dr. Karen Miller also testified in this case last week, a psychologist who interviewed all the girls who are allegedly victims of Omotoso. And in her testimony, she said to Derfontein and also to Dr. Miller that Omotoso inserted his fingers inside her private part. Then after that, she was introduced to another state advocate, prosecutor Antelwa, who has recused himself for the case, and to him, she said that he just touched her. So Peter Durban was asking, why has she been inconsistent in her statements? Because this then makes the validity of her statement untrue, because on one side she's saying that fingers were inserted into a private part, and to another statement she's saying something different. And in her defense she said the reason why she said this is that she was 14 or 13 at the time, and whether it was penetration, whether it was sex, she couldn't really voice that out. And also with the original statement to the Hawks, she was just stating what happened, and they didn't ask her to clearly state what it means to say I was touched. But when she reached advocates Derfontein and also Dr. Miller, they asked her, what do you mean when you say touched? And then she elaborated that I mean that he inserted his fingers into my private part, and that's why she stood on that. The two different cases are because no one asked her in those instances to elaborate what it means to be touched. And then it ended off obviously with Timothy Omotoso refuting all the claims made against him of sexual assault by Gianni. But I must just state, unlike the other witnesses they took the stand, Gianni was very provocative, I would say, towards Omotoso. Every time she talked, Francis, she would look at him and look him in the face and give him evil stare, and would say, I know what you did, I know what he did. Unlike the other victims who were shying away looking at him, she was rather more stronger, more assertive, even challenging the defense on certain things he said, which she says are her truth.
All right, thank you, and she'll continue to follow that very important, very worrying trial, though, Lerato Fekisi.